And what you're seeing here is a mirage.
All right, so I'm here with Mike, who's a former sniper with the military at our Flat Earth meetup at Gather Greenville. And Mike's going to tell us a few things about whether or not they actually account for curvature or the Coriolis effect when they're actually performing their sniper duties. So I'm going to turn it around to Mike and let him talk with you. This is Mike, everybody. You can see he's a legit sniper. So, Mike, do you guys account for the Coriolis effect?
Never.
Never at all. What do you account for?
Windage, size of target, distance to target, temperature, ambient temperature, elevation of target from shooter. Never Coriolis.
Do you account for curvature of the Earth at all?
Absolutely not, 100%.
But you do account for the parabolic arc of the bullet, correct?
That's correct. Bullet drop.
Yeah. Gotcha. So everybody can hear from the mouth of a U.S. sniper that they do not account for this Coriolis effect. So that argument can no longer be used. If you continue to use that argument, then you're doing so falsely. Mike, thanks for being here. We appreciate your service, and we appreciate you telling us the truth about whether you account for the Coriolis effect or not.
Not a problem.
Oh, I'm not saying the world is flat, and I'm not saying the world is round. But if we was to use a compass, well, I let the facts speak for themselves. So, the compass only recognizes north. Any other direction is only based off the direction of north. North always points to the center, aka the North Pole. How could the compass point south if south is down? And many people believe if you travel in one direction, you'll come back on yourself. But that only happens with east and west. East and west are curved lines that constantly readjust to align with north. So when people say they've circled the whole world and they ended up in the same place, they was only going east and west. But if you travel south, that's a whole different story. South is any direction leaving the center. So if you travel far enough, you will reach the ice wall. Unlike east and west, if you travel south, you will never come back on yourself. So there's a reason why they don't want you to travel south. Even the compass don't want you traveling south. That's why it always points back to north, telling you to turn around. Because if you keep traveling south and you go past that ice wall, there's more land, and they don't want you to be free.
The Bible describes Earth as a flat disk covered by a solid dome called the firmament, with waters above and below it. Genesis chapter 1 explains that God separated the waters by creating this dome, placing stars and planets as lights attached to its surface. The sun and moon move across this dome in predictable patterns to create day and night. 4 corners anchor the Earth, with pillars supporting the entire structure above the deep waters below. This ancient Hebrew cosmology shows Earth as the center of creation, with heaven literally above the dome and Sheol beneath the foundations. While modern science presents a different picture, billions still find meaning in this biblical worldview that emphasizes our special place in God's creation. The firmament model actually makes more sense when you consider how ancient people observed the sky and tried to explain natural phenomena without telescopes or space exploration.
In other breaking news, the world is round, not flat.
Fear before him all the earth. The world also shall be stable, that it be not moved. The Lord reigneth, he is clothed with majesty. The Lord is clothed with strength, wherewith he hath girded himself. The world also is established, that it cannot be moved. Say among the heathen that the Lord reigneth. The world also shall be established, that it shall not be moved. He shall judge the people righteously. Who laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be removed forever. Sayest, how doth God know? Can he judge through the dark cloud? Thick clouds are a covering to him, that he seeth not, and he walketh in the circuit of heaven. He hath compassed the waters with bounds, until the day and night come to an end. The pillars of heaven tremble, and are astonished at his reproof. It is turned as clay to the seal, and they stand as a garment. Thus saith the Lord, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that ye built unto me, and where is the place of my rest? For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set the world upon them. Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and as a molten looking glass? For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water. Keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science falsely so called, which some professing have erred concerning the faith. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depth, when he established the clouds above, when he strengthened the fountains of the deep, when he gave to the sea his decree that the water should not pass his commandment, when he appointed the foundations of the earth, then I was by him, as one brought up with him, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him, rejoicing in the habitable part of his earth, and my delights were with the sons of men. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it. And there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? In the 600th year of Noah's life, the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. The fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped. The rain from heaven was restrained. And the waters returned from off the earth continually. And after the end of the 150 days, the waters were abated. spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou, moon, in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day.
Might just be the best flat earth proof you've ever heard. And it all starts with a sundial. Alright, stay with me here because this one is going to blow your mind. You know what a sundial is, right? That ancient tool people have used for thousands of years to tell time by tracking the sun's shadow. But what if I told you? Sundials don't work on a spinning ball Earth. I know, sounds wild, but let's dive into it. Imagine the Earth is a ball spinning through space. The sun would rise in the east, set in the west, and a sundial's shadow should shift in a way that reflects this, right? But guess what? It doesn't work like that. On a globe, the shadow cast by the sun wouldn't follow the pattern that makes sundials function properly. The shadow would be inconsistent, and the whole system would fall apart. Here's why. For a sundial to work, the sun has to move in a predictable circular path over a flat plane. If the sun is rising and setting over a curved surface, the shadows wouldn't align. The shadow would bend and stretch in strange ways, making it impossible to use the sundial accurately. But on a flat plane, it's a perfect match. The sun moves in a circle, and the shadows follow a logical, consistent path. That's how sundials have worked for centuries. Here's where things get interesting. The flat Earth model explains why sundials have worked flawlessly for so long. In this model, the sun moves in a circular path above a flat surface, illuminating everything below it in a way that makes sense. It's simple, it's direct, and most importantly, it matches what we can observe. But don't just take my word for it. You can test this yourself with a flashlight and a DIY sundial. If the flashlight represents the sun and you move it in a straight line, the shadow won't behave like it does in real life. However, if you move the flashlight in a circular pattern, boom, the shadow behaves exactly like it should on a sundial. Now let's talk about the globe model for a second. People love to bring up NASA and their supposed proof, but what do we really get from them? CGI images, videos that look more like a movie than real life, and not much else. If the globe model was truly rock solid, we'd have undeniable proof, right? Yet here we are, relying on cartoons and simulations. And gravity, don't even get me started on that. They want you to believe that gravity is strong enough to hold billions of gallons of water upside down on a spinning ball. Really? Have you ever tried holding water upside down? It just doesn't work. Water doesn't stick to a ball, it finds its level. That's basic physics, and yet we're supposed to accept that gravity magically keeps oceans glued to a spinning globe? Let's be real. The globe model has holes, and this sundial experiment is just one example that cracks open the narrative. If we start questioning what we've been taught and look at things with fresh eyes, the answers are right in front of us.
they're buying it.